Have you ever felt like your children have started ignoring you or no longer respect you the way they used to? Have you noticed that all the sacrifices you've made for them no longer seem to be appreciated? If your answer is yes, you're not alone. This is something that touches the heart of every parent who's experienced the pain of feeling disrespected by their children. But don't worry. Today, I'm going to share with you 6 powerful steps that can change everything. You'll learn how to regain your children's respect in a way that's truly effective, without arguments or conflict. By the end of this video, you'll discover how to become the person who commands respect simply by being who you are. Are you ready for a transformation? Stay with me until the end, because these tips will truly make a difference in your life and in your family. Action 1. Stop chasing their approval. One of the biggest mistakes parents make, especially as they grow older, is trying too hard to please their children. You might find yourself going out of your way to accommodate them, saying yes when you want to say no, or putting their needs ahead of your own, hoping that they'll appreciate you more. But here's the painful truth. The more you chase their approval, the less they respect you. Example: take Margaret, for instance. She was a strong and independent woman in her younger years, but as she grew older, she began to rearrange her life around her children's needs. She kept silent when they spoke down to her, thinking she was keeping the peace. But what happened? They started taking her for granted. If you want to regain their respect, the first step isn't demanding it, it's stopping the endless pursuit of it. Set boundaries. Say no when needed. Speak your mind, even if they don't like it. When you respect yourself, they'll begin to respect you in return. Action 2. Don't argue, lead by example. When your children dismiss your opinions or treat you disrespectfully, your first instinct may be to argue, to remind them of everything you've done for them, to demand that they listen. But let me tell you something important. Arguing never works. Story. I knew Frank, a retired teacher who had always led his classroom with confidence. However, his grown children began treating him like an afterthought. At first, he argued with them, trying to prove he still deserved respect. But the more he fought, the worse things got. Then, Frank decided to make a change. He stopped arguing. He began listening instead and spoke with wisdom and dignity. Over time, his children noticed this shift. They respected him more, not because he demanded it, but because he earned it by showing them what respect looks like. Action 3. Withdraw your emotional dependence. One of the hardest lessons to learn as we grow older is that we can't depend on our children for emotional fulfillment. You love them deeply, and you want them to love and respect you in return. But when they sense that you need them to feel valued, the power dynamic in the relationship shifts. Example: Helen was a kind-hearted mother who had given everything to her children. As they got busy with their own lives, she found herself constantly waiting for their calls. She'd call them herself, hoping they'd visit more. But this only pushed them further away. Eventually, Helen stopped calling first. She started focusing on herself, picking up hobbies, spending time with friends, and taking care of her own happiness. Miraculously, her children began calling more, and they respected her time and energy. Action 4. Set boundaries and enforce them. One of the biggest reasons children lose respect for their parents is because the parents allow it. If you let your children treat you disrespectfully, they'll continue to do so. But here's the truth. Boundaries are essential. Story. I remember Robert, a retired businessman who had spent his life managing a successful company with discipline and confidence. But at home, he tolerated his grown children interrupting him, dismissing his opinions, and criticizing his choices. Eventually, Robert decided to change things. He set clear boundaries. When his son interrupted him, he calmly said, "I'll continue speaking when you're ready to listen." When they crossed his limits, he firmly stood his ground. Eventually, his children began respecting him. They saw that he valued himself enough to demand respect, and in return, they gave it to him. Action 5. Stop giving. Without appreciation. One of the quickest ways to lose respect is to keep giving to people who don't appreciate it. As parents, we often give our time, our energy, and our support, even when it's not acknowledged. But here's the thing. When you give to someone who doesn't appreciate it, you don't build love or respect. You build entitlement. They stop seeing your kindness as something valuable and start seeing it as something they're entitled to. Story. George was a father who always helped his children financially and emotionally, dropping everything to assist them. But instead of gratitude, his children took it for granted. When George stopped overextending himself and started saying no when needed, his children initially resisted. But over time, they began to value his time and effort. They learned that his generosity was conditional on respect, and they started treating him with greater appreciation. Action 6. Build a life outside of them. One of the most powerful ways to regain your children's respect is to show them that your happiness doesn't revolve around them. When you make your life all about your children, they might start seeing you as someone who has nothing else going on. Story. Alana was a widow in her late 70s, and after her husband passed, she became overly focused on her children, hoping they'd fill the emotional void. She constantly checked in with them and expected them to spend time with her, but this only pushed them away. Then Alana made a change. She joined a book club, traveled with friends, and volunteered at a local community center. Her children began noticing her independence and respecting her more. They saw her as someone who had her own life, and that respect grew over time. Conclusion. Respect isn't something you can demand from your children. It's something you inspire through the way you carry yourself, the boundaries you set, and the life you lead. If your children have started treating you with less care or respect, don't waste your energy getting angry. Shift your approach. Stop chasing their approval, because the less you need it, the more they'll give it. Lead by example. Your dignity will speak louder than words. Withdraw your emotional dependence. Your independence will inspire admiration. Set boundaries, because people will only treat you as well as you require them to. Stop giving without appreciation, because generosity is a gift, not a guarantee. And most importantly, build a life outside of them, because people respect those who live with purpose. When you do these things, something amazing will happen. Your children will start seeing you differently, not as someone waiting for their attention, but as someone who commands respect by simply being who you are. And over time, that respect will return to you, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. If you found this video helpful, let us know by leaving a comment and sharing one thing you learned today. We'd love to hear how you plan to apply these tips in your own life. Remember, you don't earn respect by demanding it. You inspire it through your actions, your boundaries, and the life you choose to live. You are not just a parent. You are a person of worth, purpose, and strength. So stop waiting for respect and start commanding it by being who you truly are. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might need this advice. Your support helps us continue to create content that inspires and empowers you. Thank you for watching, and we can't wait to see you in the next video.